They were saying, well, Roger Stone was keeping more information from investigators, and it's just more evidence of Russian collusion. Do you notice they always do this when the Mueller investigation is running out of steam? They just throw out some piece of what they hope is going to be red meat, and the press just slavishly follows along. Well, we thought we'd go right to the source. Roger Stone, unofficial advisor for the Trump campaign, author, of course, his fantastic book, Roger's Rules. Roger, it's great to talk to you. How are you?
Laura, the most amazing thing here is most of the media missed the larger point. This fellow Greenberg, who reached out to me through Michael Caputo, it was an active FBI informant, has been for 17 years, was in the country only based on a waiver from the Miami office of the FBI, and then offered to sell me information for $2 million, and I laughed in his face. It was a 20-minute meeting, which, frankly, I'd forgotten because it was so ridiculous. But why is James Comey's FBI, Obama's FBI, sending me a paid informant trying to set me up and obviously compromise Donald Trump? That's the real issue here.
Why don't we get this informant, this paid informant should have to testify before Congress? How long has your relationship been going with the FBI, and what did they really offer you?
You know, we made these documents based on research available to the Washington Post. It's very clear that Henry Greenberg, and that's not his real name, that's an alias.
That's an alias, okay.
Has been working for the FBI consistently for 17 years in North Korea, in Iran, in Miami.
Wow.
And he confirmed what I said. I flatly rejected his offer. I told him Donald Trump didn't pay for information. He was not specific about what he allegedly had or where it came from. This was a 20-minute exchange, which I rejected.
Well, I think that, again, the more we learn about how desperate the Democrats were to stop Trump, the more disturbing information we learn about our intelligence and our law enforcement apparatus so easily infiltrated by political bias. So in that IG report, the fact that Horowitz can conclude, as he did, that, well, we don't really have evidence of political bias affecting the outcome of the investigation. Oh, come on. I mean, that there's a lot of good information in the IG report, but again, it seems like it reminded me a little bit like of James Comey's indictment of Hillary in the summer of 2016, Roger, where he laid out basically all the predicates for a crime of exposing classified information on this private server. Then in the end said, well, we can't really conclude anything.
Yeah, sadly, the IG report was a bureaucratic whitewash. It's all there, the evidence of political bias, the evidence of a fix of Hillary's case. As Judge Napolitano of Fox has pointed out, she can still be indicted for these crimes, and she should be. She very clearly broke the law. But the establishment seeks to take care of its own. We haven't even gotten to the question of the illegal FISA warrants, but that goes back to this Russian contact with me. How is it that Mr. Mueller's office has the text messages between Michael Caputo, the Trump campaign operative, and myself, in which I told him this meeting was a waste of time and it was essentially a shakedown? How is it that Mueller has that information if he hasn't levied an illegal, unconstitutional FISA warrant on me? I will be going to court shortly to sue the government for violation of my civil rights and violation of my privacy rights. The New York Times reported on January 20th, 2017, that I was the subject of a FISA warrant, along with Carter Page and Paul Manafort. The government now denies that in their discovery in the Manafort case. I think they're lying.
Roger, why did you forget about this contact? Because it seems like, given all the focus on Russia and how did this get forgotten?
Well, remember, this is May of 2016. Hillary doesn't make a big deal and play the Russia card until June. Frankly, this was a 20-minute meeting. It was so ridiculous. The guy was wearing a MAGA hat and a Trump T-shirt, not exactly the way one conducts political espionage. I was uncertain of his ethnicity. He had an Eastern European accent. His name was Greenberg. For all I know, I was going to meet an Orthodox Jew. I had no idea. Frankly, it just slipped my mind. I have written, or I should say my attorney has written to the House Intelligence Committee to update my testimony and give them a full report on this. But as Rudy Giuliani correctly pointed out, and even Greenberg himself admitted to the Washington Post, nothing changed hands. No money, no information. I flatly rejected his offer. So, unlike when Bill and Hillary took the $145 million from the Russian energy company. You want evidence of hard collusion? There it is, right there.
Roger, the idea that you as a private citizen can't meet with whomever you want to meet, too. I mean, you can meet anybody. Let's just put this aside. You can meet with whomever you want to meet.
This is the same attack that they've leveled at Donald Trump Jr., who meets with a Russian lawyer. Nothing changes hands. The meeting has no consequence. She meets with executives from GPS Fusion before and after the meeting with Donald Trump Jr., but he gets criticized for taking the meeting. I did this meeting because Michael Caputo thought the man might have something of value. He never mentioned selling anything to us until I arrived at a cafe in South Florida to meet with the guy. As soon as he told me he wanted $2 million, I laughed in his face. I don't have $2 million, and even if I had it, I wouldn't spend it on opposition research. And then he laughed and said, I don't want your money. It's Donald Trump's money I want. I said, wow, you really don't understand Donald Trump. It was an attempt to compromise Trump through me, given our 40-year friendship. Now, I'm sure Adam Schiff and the others will be jumping up and down about the fact that I didn't recall this, but they won't mention the fact that he was an FBI informant and he was working for James Comey at the exact moment that he came to meet me. This is what you call a setup.
Oh, my gosh. It's so beyond obvious, Roger, that it's just this is like disturbing doesn't capture it as an adjective. Outlandish, outrageous, illegal.
Well, you can go to democratdossier.org, and we've actually posted this guy's extensive service to the FBI as an informant. He's also, by the way, a convicted violent felon connected to Russian organized crime. I never saw or heard from this guy again, and I certainly hope I don't now.
Roger, did he, when you met with him, you said it was about 20 minutes long. Was anyone else there? Was Caputo there, or was it just the two of you?
It was just the two of us. Now, he claimed to the Washington Post that a third person, somebody he identified as Alexei, who he said worked for the Clinton Foundation, actually sat at the table with me, and that he, Henry Greenberg, sat at another table where he couldn't overhear the conversation. All of that is entirely false. He was the only one at the meeting. He showed me photographs of himself at various Trump rallies in South Florida with a woman, I don't know, girlfriend, wife. I think that was an effort to get my confidence. He's wearing a MAGA hat, a Trump T-shirt, trying to give me the impression that he's a Trump supporter. And then he tries to shake me down for $2 million.
What did he offer, though? What did he say he had?
He was never specific. According to the Washington Post, he said that he had documents from the Clinton Foundation, but he never told me that. All he said was he had negative information on the Clintons. I took a pass. At the time, I thought this was just he was some lowlife and this was a shakedown. I had no idea at the time that he was an active FBI informant on their payroll in the country with the express approval of the Miami office of the FBI. That is all documented. That, of course, is the part that New York Magazine and Slate and Salon and all the others don't mention today. They focus only on the fact that I just didn't recall this meeting because it was so ludicrous. I have updated my memory until Robert Mueller's people, who seem to know all about this, by the way, quite interestingly, asked Michael Caputo about it. Frankly, I'd forgotten it entirely, and so had he. He didn't bring it up in his testimony before the House or the Senate. Either did I, because frankly, I just didn't recall it.
But I don't understand the what's the Russian connection then? He said he was from Russia? I mean, why do they say it's a Russian?
He appeared to be Russian based on his accent. We now know that he is indeed
But did he say
Russian,
he was from Russia?
Pardon me?
Did he say he was Russian?
He didn't say one way or another. It was kind of clear, and when you look at the research, he clearly is a Russian national working for the FBI at the very time that he tried to set me up.
Does he live in the United States, or do we know where he lives, or we don't even know?
According to immigration records, he is somewhere in South Florida, and he is here with the approval of the FBI, assigned to the FBI office in Miami. He's clearly an informant. He claims he no longer works as an informant, so he expects us to believe that he took the day off to help Donald Trump by trying to sell him illicit documents for $2 million. Not credible.
Do you think he was recording the conversation, or you don't know?
It wouldn't matter whether he was.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about the fact that I flatly rejected the offer. Look, in a presidential campaign, and I've been through 10 of them, people often come to you with an offer of opposition research. It would be malpractice not to explore it, but you don't ever pay for information, and you certainly don't obtain information illegally. I have no idea what he was trying to sell me. I do know that I rejected it, and more importantly, Laura, I never discussed this with Donald Trump or anyone in the Trump campaign because the idea was so ludicrous. And my text messages between myself and Michael Caputo, which, strangely enough, Robert Mueller seems to have, but nobody else, flatly shows that I flatly rejected the offer.
Roger Stone, I think you're going to join us tonight on TV on the Ingram Angle. More on this. Thank you so much, Roger.